looks like we are live. We're going to go ahead and try this one more time. I went ahead and did some reworking of my home network. I think that the problem is solved. And this is kind of going to be a 2-for-1, right? I'm going to do kind of a test of the network as it is right now, my home network as it is right now, to make sure that things operate the way I think that they're supposed to. And also, we're going to cover the news as we were kind of going to before. Now, we did already cover some news articles in the last live stream. There's a part 1. It's not labeled as part 1 per se, but all right, guys, I do see you started to trickle in. Thank you so much for saying hello. Some goblin loser, I don't know, says, yo! Appreciate you coming back to check out the second part of today's news cycle. And let me jump out of the way, and let's take a look at our news. Yet again, I'm going to have to, let's see, to bring your current chat here, I'm going to need to switch streams. There we go. It's going to go ahead and reset that to our current stream so you can see exactly what's being said. Do be on your best behavior, guys. That's how this works. That's how it works. But I appreciate you jumping back in, sharing the stream. Just as a reminder, there's a little bumper roll. When you do hit all the buttons, guys, it helps us out a lot. When you share, subscribe, turn on all notifications, just click all the buttons. It all helps. It really helps a lot. So thank you for doing that. All right, there we go. I did the thing. I suspect that we're not going to have as many hiccups. I am still hardwired into my my local network, and I've reconfigured things so that I don't think I have the same choke point as before. So thank you for being subscribed. Thank you for sharing the live link. It means a lot when you share this while we're live, because then we get those live comments and that engagement. It helps YouTube know that this is content people actually want to pay attention to. But we already talked about this. Let's jump straight into kind of markets for this side of the live stream. Make it a clean break. Take a look at, first off, our TVL across all major chains. Guys, appreciate you being tuned in for this. But TVL for Ethereum has dropped over time. We're seeing that Ethereum is losing that 60% or roughly 60% of the total TVL of the markets. And it's going into territory that I didn't think was possible before, and it's continuing at maybe still kind of a slow rate, as I've mentioned before. That kind of slower rate of right now being at just over 55%, almost 56%. So we were, seeing this trend of Ethereum losing its dominance in the DeFi space, and that trend is just continuing. I thought it was going to slow down, crab sideways for a while. I thought we were going to have it the rate of decay for the Ethereum dominance DeFi scene, the DeFi scene, kind of level off a little bit, but no, it's just still been as aggressive. We especially dropped down the last couple of days, and it's really, really taking its toll on Ethereum. I thought that with the downward price movement that we would see instead, we'd see a consolidation or a flight to hard assets, both for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And with that flight to hard assets, that we would see a lot more DeFi return to Ethereum. But apparently that's not the case. I think what I'm seeing here is that Ethereum is still synonymous with DeFi for the most part, for most people, but it is becoming decreasingly so. You got people who are diehard sort of Web3 maximalists who are talking about their experience with ZK rollups and other rollup tech, or optimistic rollups and ZK rollups, various rollup tech kind of not working out for them the way that they wanted it to, or having other issues with the various scaling solutions not working out the way that they wanted it to. And that's fine. That's whatever, absolutely fine. But this is going to spell maybe a little bit of disaster for anybody who is putting their eggs in the Ethereum basket, right? So I've been talking about Polygon for a while, but apparently the market is going a slightly different direction. Tron surpassed Polygon in terms of TVL a little while back, and it hasn't slowed down, right? There's still a little bit of separation between Tron and Polygon, and it looks like that may perhaps be growing. This is the 1 month change. I don't know, maybe there will be correction. Hopefully we do see Polygon rise in the stacked rankings before long. But right now, Polygon is at number 8. Even though it's kind of my top pick, it's at number 8. We got Terra, which strictly speaking, is not like it's not the main substrate across which all these DeFi protocols run. It's just sort of being part of the Cosmos ecosystem, the IBC ecosystem. Things can run on Terra, but they don't necessarily have to. They can be ported over to other IBC chains. We haven't done a full in-depth tutorial on how that works because, frankly, I'm not well read enough on the documentation to go there yet, but I'd like to be. I just know that it does work that way for these IBC chains. Anything running on Cosmos and Tendermint protocol, generally speaking, you can perform atomic swaps from one of these chains to the other. So Terra, you can swap your Terra tokens over for Atom directly on the Cosmos chain, and then anything running in that ecosystem, whether it's Persistence or Regen or like Sentinel, DVPN, or these other networks. And we'll talk about that when we get into that side of the portfolio. But appreciate you guys hitting the thumbs up. Thank you for doing that on your way in. Please don't just be a lurker. It helps a lot when you give the thumbs up and when you chat. Appreciate that. Let me also, I think I forgot to leave a comment on my other stream. Yeah. My gosh. Guys, it's been one of those kinds of days. It's just been a little bit off, been a little bit rough, but I did want to jump back in because I don't like, yeah. Alrighty, going live again for part 2. And I'm going to go ahead and leave that in the community tab. I think that's important just to let people know that we are live again. Appreciate you guys being here, though. Appreciate you especially leaving those comments. Some Goblin Loser, thanks for showing solidarity, man. It definitely helps. Be sure to click that subscribe if you are lurking, and it looks like by the numbers there's got to be some of you lurking for sure. Appreciate you being subscribers after this point, though. All right, guys, jumping back into the TVL across all of our DeFi chains. They got the stacked ranking again. The huge surge forward, upward with a couple of these chains where you got the TVL flipping in favor of Terra, and then BSC, of course, was always the number 2, was the incumbent that was displaced by Terra. But when we look at protocols, again, we got BSC and then Polygon. Phantom is moving up, but it's not catching up. It's not closing the gap of that 21 protocol lead that Polygon has, but it is moving up fast. And it's 1-day change, 7-day, and 1-month change. It's in the green. It's one of the few DeFi protocols that is in the green. So clearly, it's for anybody who's wanting to take a conservative bet. Phantom is now the conservative bet because it hasn't been suffering at all. That said, is it going to continue to grow at that rate? In my mind, that seems very unlikely that it can grow at that rate. It seems like it's not something that you can definitely count on. So yeah, I would just say be very, very cautious. If aping into Phantom right now, you could become the liquidity for somebody else's red candle. I think if you do try to jump into Phantom right now, but there are clearly some people whose patience has paid off with the way that Phantom is rising in the rankings right now, and it's really, really like very aggressive, positive price action there. So kudos to anybody who made that bet on Phantom. Avalanche is not doing terribly bad either, right, over the 1-month time frame. Polygon is unfortunately what it's got going for it is the protocol support and the number of partnerships that are being onboarded with Polygon. The fact that it's already in production and working now and not being brought down to a grinding halt by new contract writers, who are doing kind of mean things like the sunflower farming game, which initially kind of bogged it down. We haven't seen anything quite like that for Polygon before or since. But then Avalanche, Phantom, Solana, all these other smart contract layer 1s, they've definitely had some problems over time. So yeah, I guess it's kind of important to acknowledge that L1s, they tend to share the same fate, where over time they just slow down unless you're able to create incentives and continue to innovate at a pace that prevents that from happening. And Polygon now is onboarding so many different technology partners that I don't foresee them having quite the same level of trouble in the near future. So the same cannot be said of Phantom or of Avalanche or of Solana, that they're building in the same directions that Polygon has to be able to bring, ZK, like zero knowledge proofs as a primitive to some of their scaling chains and layers. So I'm really excited by Polygon, guys. I mean, I can't hide it anymore. It's just, it makes sense to me. It has made sense for a while now, and I just don't, yeah, without giving you advice, right? I got to flash that again because we're on a new video. Without giving you advice, not saying you got to ape into Polygon, just saying that I'm excited by it. And I think the tech works really well. It's been what everybody's using to get their payouts on Ethereum, on Ethermine, and other mining pools for a while. So even when they try to voice dissent, like, I don't like Polygon. Okay, cool story, bro. Except that you're taking your mining payouts on Polygon. So learn how to love it, I guess. Learn how to deal with it. At any rate, that is our DeFi Llama overview. Not a whole lot has changed there, in my opinion, not in any significant way. We can take a look at some of these various different changes, right? 7-day, we've got some that are coming way up. EOS is one, and I think I totally made fun of EOS last time I went live. I'm kind of sad to have done that now. But then Phantom is in a number 2 spot over 7 days. Oasis, others, as well as Terra, right? I think those are the big ones to look out for. Phantom and Terra, they've got enough TVL in those systems that they're meaningful, right? They're on most people's radar. Waves crossed that $1 billion mark because of its 16% growth this last week as well. So that's huge to see that, as well as Stacks protocol also doing well, but still the TVL for Stacks is not super high. And then Osmosis just outside of the top 10, doing another 10% this week, which is great. All green on Osmosis. Great to see. It's kind of sad that it only shows one protocol being supported on Osmosis. That's not entirely true. It's not entirely accurate. Osmosis is a DEX and AMM running in the IBC ecosystem, and so everything that runs on IBC, including Terra, is supported on Osmosis. I don't know that I fully agree with the way that DeFi Llama breaks all of this down, and I kind of wish that we had a little bit more insight there. DJ Mines is in the chat saying, hey, appreciate you being here, guys. Thanks for hitting that thumbs up. I'm seeing the likes are coming in. They're coming in a little bit more slowly. I know this is what happens when you go live and you have catastrophic stream failure, and then you go live again. But I haven't had catastrophic stream failure again on this stream. We're going 12 minutes strong, and we do not have a single problem yet. So I'm happy to have solved that, but we let the magic smoke out. Maybe it won't come back in. That would be sad if that's the case. But good to see DJ Mines in the chat. Appreciate you being here. TVL, guys, I think is not enough of an indicator for us to only look at that. We do have to look at the protocol support. We do need to look at maybe not even at market cap versus TVL. That's one way to look at it. I mean, I guess whatever. It just doesn't. Yeah. I don't know that I agree with that. I mean, it puts things like this, right? We could go the other way around and make more sense of that ratio. So maybe I just flip that around. But BitTorrent, that's kind of a joke, don't you think? Isn't that kind of a joke to see it? It's like, oh my gosh, it's 5 million to 1. Okay, cool. That just means that there's nothing running on top of BitTorrent right now as a crypto protocol. As a peer-to-peer protocol, plenty runs on BitTorrent, as well as Bitcoin too. It's like we don't actually have things running directly on Bitcoin. You got Stacks protocol that was mentioned before. You've got RSK. You've got OmniLayer protocol, but you don't actually have things running on top of Bitcoin as a protocol for the most part. Not really. Cosmos Hub as well, or Atom here. I don't know that is the most meaningful metric to put market cap versus TVL unless you have the TVL set up correctly, and I don't think they do. But this is more like it. The inverse is more like it. Phantom. This is how you can tell something's punching above its weight. The market cap the TVL divided by the market cap. Now we're seeing, okay, what makes sense there? What's the relationship between the number of projects and the amount of value they hold to the amount of value held within the native token itself? And Phantom, Kava, Waves. This is a pretty good interpretation as well, guys. Kava, I don't know. I've been following it for a little bit of time, not closely, but I don't know that that's a genuine metric either with those 4 protocols running on top. Waves is showing a bit more promise, in my opinion, with the DEX and AMM running on top of it. And then same with Sif Chain, finally out of the red and apparently getting its sea legs here in the cryptosphere, as well as Terra doing really well there. But I don't know that's my favorite way of measuring the effectiveness of these chains. Let me double check our comments yet again, guys. This is kind of coming in slowly. Appreciate you sharing the link. That would be super awesome. Take a look at our GPU mining profitability. This is another thing that we look at pretty closely on this show. Currently at 14 cents per kilowatt hour as the cost basis for our power. We're looking at the RTX 3090 still in profit but only by about $3.05. We're down bad. I have no problem saying that. Down very much badly. People who've been telling you to go out and buy new GPUs, if they've been saying that, that's irresponsible. If you've been hearing that from them when they've tried to show you their GPUs, then maybe you've been irresponsible. I don't think responsible people are telling you to go out and buy new equipment. And I think that they've been issuing warnings against that for the last several weeks or couple of months even, pretty consistently. I think most responsible people are just telling you, like, hey, this is risky, and you can lose a lot of your income by trying to chase after mining, like future mining profits, by buying your way into prosperity right now by buying the gear. Like, it doesn't really work that way. You have to manage your risk carefully, know what your risk tolerance is, what you can actually afford to lose, and then be really, really careful with what you pick up by way of mining gear. Because it's not all equal. It's not all equally profitable. It's got different times, like return to to break even, and it can be very, very risky in that regard. So yeah, just gonna say that again. Altcoin C is in the chat saying, "Hey, appreciate you being here. Yes, proof of live stream and fixing the network problem. I had a rogue router on my network that I unfortunately gave DMZ control, and it was just freaking out trying to create leases for the IP addresses, and clearly had some problems with routing. It's probably a busted router, so I just pulled it off, replaced it with something that was bog stock, just a very simple switch, and here we are, running great again. The problem was mine. It was absolutely mine. I have done split tunneling on OBS again as well, so my stream has been like, it's been like steady Eddie. I'm seeing the bit rate going out of OBS like consistent. So appreciate you guys being here. Do hit that share button. It helps a lot, and that like button. Thank you for doing that. But yeah, guys, people who are telling you to go out and buy mining equipment, highly irresponsible right now. I don't know anybody personally who's doing this. That's the thing. Like, anybody who I've spoken to personally is like, yeah, maybe I'm buying gear, but I'm not telling other people to buy gear. So yeah, just take caution, guys. Take caution, and protect yourself that way. Don't get suckered into it. But right now, especially with the RTX 3090 at only $3.05 of profit, that'd be crazy to go out and buy a brand new card like this. Let's do a live search over on eBay, for example. So ebay.com, and I am not logged in on this system, but if I look up the NVIDIA RTX 3090, RTX 3090 looks like this is Canadian dollars. Oops. Don't want to do that, but that's fine. Come on now. Still, Canadian dollars. It's a lot. Completed sold items. All right. Sold items. Hey, you know what? Actually, prices are coming down. It looks, by the looks of it, pretty well. So looks like, there you go. And this is in Canadian dollars still. 1850 is not the worst, actually. I'm starting to see these prices come down to relatively reasonable ranges. This is not that bad. That said, this is, if anything, this is the high sign to me for anybody who's interested in getting your hands on IT. Start making that plan when you see profits continue to dip. As you see prices dip, like, figure out what your tolerance is. Figure out what you think is fair, right? Like, you're going to see a lot of used gear hemorrhage out of the markets. You're going to see a lot of miners who did not break even on their RTX 3000 series purchases because they thought they would play along, only a month or two ago or three ago, and tried to buy equipment that just stood no chance of ever returning a profit. You're going to see a lot of people trying to sell those, and they're going to sell them at a loss now too, because they bought them for $3,000 or like anywhere between $500 to $1,000 more than they're going to sell them now. So I sincerely hope that is nobody in this audience. As you know, I tried to issue warnings against anybody in this audience falling prey to that issue, right? Having that problem in their life. So I hope that doesn't describe you guys. I hope you do not have that issue. But let's go back over to what to mine and see what our current profitability is for the rest of the most popular cards in the mining scene. Starting with that RTX 3090. 305 in profit every single day. That's US dollars. And then RTX A5000, only about $2.81. These are not cheap GPUs, guys. They're very expensive. If you had to buy one brand new today, they're very expensive. Bottom of the list, we got that Radeon R9 380, totally decommissioned at this point at -5 cents if you're mining on residential power. And then the R9 Fury still in the money, but not like it was before. It was doing $1 a day, more than $1 a day for quite a while. Now at 11 cents, yikes. Good luck trying to sell it too. You needed to sell it when profits first started to dip, or when I first warned you about right-sizing your mining operation. You needed to start to sell all your old gear while you still could. Would you have been dumping on the heads of IT aficionados and gamers and such? I don't know. Maybe those are just markets, though, right? Like there are buyers and sellers. So that was how the supply and demand worked at that time. You could have made it work for you. But current mining coins that are in profit, mineable coins that are in profit for GPUs are Ycash, Etho, Ethereum Classic. I guess sort of they're for a card that isn't really profitable itself. But Zero, Beam, Nimic, Raven, Etho, let's see what else we got. Ryo, Equilibria, CCX, and then a whole lot of Ethereum Classic and Ether. Then some Conflux as well with the Octopus algorithm. And what else we got here? That's about it on the list. Flux also turning up for the RTX 2080. And that's about it. No other suspects, no other coins here on that list. So if you're dialed into profit with any one of these coins, then maybe you're going to remain profitable for a little bit longer. I sincerely hope that if you are mining, that you are in profit with those cards. That said, it's going to be very tricky to try to liquidate your cards at this point. I think as we see the cryptocurrency prices spiral down, you're going to see the GPU prices also spiral down, and they're going to reflect a, I don't know, we'll say roughly 500 to 600 day ROI in mining. They're not going to reflect a 100-day ROI. Some people have claimed that that was the case before, at the peak of the market, before prices started to go up. That hasn't been the case for a long time. And at this point, when you're looking at a 500 to, in some cases, 800-day ROI on these cards, well, what does it say when those prices are going down? It means that that's the multiplier for your number of days for ROI. So beware if you're trying to move hardware by selling it now. You're going to be dealing with extreme lowball offers. You're going to be dealing with gamers who are angry. You're going to be dealing with all kinds of stuff that you didn't have to deal with 2 to 3 months ago. So good luck out there. It's not going to be easy for you if you're trying to sell off at this point. But that's our GPU mining in a nutshell. Take a look at cost to mine one full Bitcoin. And if you're on the Antminer S9, which we're going to use as our baseline here, I think that's should always be used as a baseline standard. It's the most plentiful mining hardware profile out there. Then you need to be on 8.2 cent power just to break even. And frankly, you need to be on 5 cent power, like I've said for a while now, for this particular piece of hardware to earn any real profit. If you really want to be profitable, you got to be running this thing entirely on renewables, and you need to give up altogether trying to mine just on the grid or using residential power, certainly. There's no way you're going to make any money with any one of these mining rigs. We could look at the S19J Pro. Let's go ahead and use that as a profile as well. Go to 104 terahash, and we'll pump this up by another 2 kilowatt. Though I think it's closer to 3.3 kilowatts. Drop that in there. And on that mining hardware profile, you've actually literally got to be on 21 cent power. So you could be far less efficient if you needed to be and still turn that profit. At 5 cent power, you're okay. At 14 cent power, let's see what your actual profit margin is. It looks like right now, Bitcoin being a little over 35,000. Cost of production is 24, so you're netting almost 11,000. It's not a whole lot though. You're only profitable to the tune of about 30% of your costs, your total costs there, or your total Bitcoin production. Only about 30% of it is actual profit. So not the best position to be in right now, guys. Really, anybody who would have told you like, hey, you should go out and get a Bitcoin mining ASIC. If you'd asked me, I'd say no. I wouldn't say anything about you personally. I wouldn't say you're crazy or whatever. But I would just tell you no. It wasn't a good time 2 months ago. If anybody ever told you like, oh, I bought these Bitcoin miners at a steal. No, you didn't. You got dumped on. Anybody who was selling 2 months ago knew. They may have been watching this show, and they knew you're about to get dumped on. Like, you got to right-size your operations. You got to move into markets where you know you're going to remain profitable. So if you're committed to the business of mining, fine, stay committed to the business of mining. But if you're not committed, you got a GTFO. And that's been my consistent message for a little while now. I know some people who definitely got dumped on and went out and bought ASIC miners and are mining at home. Some of these people live in markets where the cost of power is like literally what we're looking at here, 14, 15 cents, 20 cents in some markets. And they went ahead and just bought because they were ahead a little bit financially. Maybe they were just trying to do some tax loss harvesting, but still, it's going to be ongoing tax loss harvesting if you keep that thing running. And as we go into spring and summer, you don't want to keep it in the living area. So, it pains my heart to know that this has happened to some people. But that S19J Pro, not the worst hardware mining profile, but you're looking at almost $10,000 to acquire one of these things too. And so you're not, it's just not going to work out super well. Going to head over to asicminervalue.com. And I didn't think that I'd be using their chart for this show, but I just want to show this right now because we're live and I have the opportunity to tell you about it right now. But ASIC Miner Value Pro or asicminervalue.com is showing that S19. All right, let's go ahead and there we go. Go with the J Pro, the 104. It's doing about $12 a day. So you figure, I'm not going to be able to show you my calculator right now, but if you're looking at about a $10,000 acquisition price, divide that by $12 a day, you got 833 days to break even. And that's only if you're on cheap enough power that you're actually doing that $12 of profit per day. That's actually the total production per day. And if you're looking at only capturing about 30% of that in profit, you're looking at actually closer to like $4 a day, right? Realistically, you're looking about $4 a day, meaning that that's almost 1,600 days to profitability. You're literally never going to be profitable if you bought one of these things for $10,000. And there were some outfits out there that were selling them for $10,000 each. Uncle Seth's been trying to prevent y'all from getting wrecked. And, unfortunately, some of you are getting wrecked anyway. Appreciate you guys coming in and leaving those thumbs up. I would love to see more of those thumbs ups. We are going to be giving away a security router in the next few days. Not one of the ones that I was testing on my network. That was something else. But going to be giving away a MikroTik security router, VPN router you can use for segmenting your own mining operation or just your at-home network if you want more security. Though I think the easiest way to make that work is just to get a VPN for your devices. Just run a VPN and then get a really high-functioning router that's just a router. But whatever, to each their own. You can attack that either way, and it totally works. Yeah, guys, stay safe though when you're looking at ASICs. ASICs they can be a millstone around your neck. It's really uncomfortable. Or an albatross around your neck. The Gold Shell KD6, I know people who are trying to get their orders in, hoping to be able to capitalize on Cadena, mining Cadena. The Gold Shell KD5 doing really well for some people, $72 a day if they've taken delivery of it, and I don't think anybody has yet, right? Coming out in March. I'm sorry, it came out in March last year. I don't know how many people are actually mining on it though. I'm not super up to speed on the Cadena content scene right now, so I don't know. Maybe it's made a lot more sense for some people. Maybe that's been a lot more financially wise for some people than GPU mining. So it can be this two-edged sword, though. If you buy wrong with ASICs, you buy really wrong. When you buy wrong with GPUs, pretty much all you got to do is wait. That's basically it. Either wait until GPU mining profitability, or you just sell because everybody uses GPUs for all kinds of stuff. So they don't become a paperweight the way that ASICs do. So yeah, that's the biggest takeaway there, is that it can be really good, but it can also be really bad. And unfortunately, the people who've been buying those Bitcoin miners, it's been really bad for them, whether they know it or not, whether they want to admit it or not. It's been really bad for them. Yeah, I don't want to comment too heavily here. I don't think that it's my place to comment too much here on ASIC miner value. Just to say, you got to be careful, guys. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin current mining history, and the Bitcoin mining history has kind of flatlined since this year, right? You see the sort of the average right there, the known pools and the network hash rate sort of been this interesting wave upwards, downwards. But then you got the sort of consistency from within the pools, right? It's kind of leveled that out just a little bit. But anywhere between 163 exahash all the way up to 206 exahash. So it is growing, but I don't know that it's growing at the same rate, the same accelerated rate that it was before, right? So that, I mean, these things do happen in waves as well. I suspect that we could see some very interesting things happening with Bitcoin's mining hash rate over the next several months as we see more and more heavily some of the legislation that results in sanctions in former Eastern Bloc countries. And with that regulation, I suspect that we're going to see here in the United States, at least, that we're going to see that regulators push to try to get their hands on more of the infrastructure, the means of production for Bitcoin here in the United States and in Canada as well. I'm surprised that isn't already happening in Canada, or hasn't already made headlines in Canada, but I suspect that we're going to see a huge push on the part of government agencies in North America to begin to regulate Bitcoin mining in particular, but then all the cryptocurrency mining. And I think that paired with the other news articles that we talked about before in the last segment, that this is going to lead to increased scrutiny of various different cryptocurrency networks. Marius says, you're so underrated. Cheers from Ireland. Hey, appreciate that. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you saying that. Very kind. Be sure to share, guys. The thing about most cryptocurrency content is that there's plenty of content that is here to talk to you about the same project, or kind of like one hit wonders. Like they manage to talk to the algorithm about exactly one cryptocurrency project, and they wind up not really understanding much about the entire cryptocurrency and blockchain scene. Or you got cryptocurrency content creators who are trying to buy your love by purchasing more and more equipment to show you on camera, which is really flashy, but it's a different approach, right? Like just commenting on the entire cryptocurrency market is a different thing, but thanks. Appreciate the love. I didn't mean to make that sound like a backhanded compliment to other people out there. It's a weird scene. I think there's room for a lot of us, though. So appreciate you being here now, hanging with us to go over this content stream. I do worry, though, about, guys, the means of production not being seized directly, but indirectly being overregulated over the next little while, because we're hearing so much about, like, oh, no, the bad guys all want to use Bitcoin right now. And the good guys over there want to use Bitcoin right now. And everybody's using Bitcoin right now. So we got to be able to track it, right? Obviously. If the bad guys want to use it, like, criminals, crime, ooh, boogeyman. So I worry about that being used as a pretense to start ratcheting down control on mining operations. Looking at our portfolios, let's take a look at the CoinGecko portfolios. I don't know that I can actually publish these, guys. I think maybe I tried to once, but I think that I got locked out of being able to publish these. So bear with me. We're just going to cover them right now, because we didn't cover them before in the previous segment. Got Flux in the GPU mineable portfolio. There we go. What's this? What's new? Nothing's new there. Okay, but I was able to create some new custom tabs as well. So we're going to compare and contrast how the custom tabs look versus our portfolios. But our GPU, actually, you know what? I kind of want to do one right now. Let's see what I can do. Add a category. Proof. Oh. Mining. No. GPU. No. ASIC. No. POS? No. Proof of? No. Doesn't seem to have a distinction between proof of stake and proof of work for creating those tabs. But it does have things like Polygon ecosystem, et cetera, which I have added there. We can take a look at that in a little while. Total GPU portfolio is up by only 6%, and that's with Flux leading the charge at a 7x. For your profits. That includes your initial. You could walk away if you really felt like just like rinsing your bag right now, like leaving only the tiniest bit in your moon bag based on your initial input. Well, you could walk away with 7x right now, 700% profit, but everything else is kind of lackluster by comparison. And the biggest loser right now, Haven, is down 83%, not below that $2 mark again yet. If we look at the 7-day chart, I'll bet we could find that it's dipped below that $2 mark, but nah, it's not doing us any favors being 83% down. Zano, of course, because I talked it up so much the other day, clearly it dumped. So bummer. I hate seeing that, but over the 7 days, it's on 15% down. I hate to see it. 71% since it's initial transaction into our paper trader here, the paper trade of $1,000 into our portfolio here. Grin down, Ergo down, Etho down. Everything is down right now, guys. except Ethereum, and from that point up, it's okay, but it's, in the aggregate, it's only 6% up for this portfolio. It's not a great look. We needed to cull some of our losers earlier, and I've mentioned that on the live stream, that we needed to be a little bit more dispassionate and just cut some of those losers as a stop loss early on so we could focus on some of the winners moving forward. I think that would have been a good strategy for several people in this community. So without giving legal, financial, business advice, I'm going to red screen you twice. Yeah, I'm going to red screen you twice. But without giving advice, I think it would have been a good option for some people to look at potentially cutting some of those losers and then just doubling down on some of their winning hands, some of their winning bags, or what the heck, man, looking at doing some yield farming or just anything else, not getting stuck while they watch these bags go from 60% down to 70% down, then back up to only 50% down, then down to 80%. I think a lot of people kind of did some hand wringing but didn't really pay attention to their portfolios and watched themselves get wrecked in slow motion. Hard drive mining is down 50% across the board. Nothing is in the black. Everything is in the red. Even Chia is down below its $80 mark as the biggest loser, 90% down. Storage, our top of the portfolio, is almost 12% down. So hard drive mining, not only would holding the coins have gotten you wrecked, but as you know, I've told you over 6 months ago, trying to mine profitably or farm profitably on these hard drives to get ahead of any potential losses, I don't think that would have worked out very well for you either. I think there was an initial pump when it came to doing plotting on Chia, and there were some people who won really big because they got block rewards early on, and then they divested, they sold. And they stayed ahead, and they were okay. They kept some of those hard drives plotted, and that cost basically nothing for them. But there are a lot of people who just kept on, trying to mine their way into or farm their way into prosperity, and it just didn't work for them. Try to buy increasing plotting hardware, and it just didn't work out well for them, and they're pretty much wrecked now. I did mention though that I think we're nearing that bottom support for Chia. We haven't dipped below the $70 mark yet, and I'm wondering if we ever will. I do think that Chia is, ironically, even though it's bottom of this portfolio entry, and I mentioned this before, I think that it's going to show us a lot of resilience. So let's go to the 90-day chart here just so we can see. There we go. So yeah, so it's dipped down that far once before to about 73, but it didn't go. Did it go below 70? Yeah, it had a mic. No, it showed support at 71. So yeah, very, very unique look there for Chia. Let me try to zoom in on just that one date range. Looks like no, it was a little lower. There we go, $68. So that was on January 22nd that we saw $68 for Chia. And yeah, guys, I think that's about as low as it ever went. I think we saw that $68 mark, and geez, that's a weird looking chart. What the heck is wrong with you? Come on, Chia, you were drunk. All right, go back up here and go to max. All right, that looks better. So yeah, I think $68 was the lowest ever. I think it probably even just tells us here, right? So like all-time low, $68, and it tells us February 20th. So it was a week ago that it hit that all-time low again, slightly below what it did in January. But yeah, it's a far cry from its all-time high of $1,600, where everybody was telling me it was going to not only stay, but continue to move up from that point, 95% down. Guys, I think all of the air has been let out of Chia's tires. I think I can finally safely say that $68, it's tested that bottom support twice now, and it's held. I think $68 is the new normal for Chia, and anything close to that $68 mark, in my mind, is a great buy. Now, am I endorsing it? No. Do I hold any? No. Have I been even remotely warm towards Chia over the last half year? No. Guys, we literally had Bram Cohen jump into the comments section of my live stream to try to defend his take on what they're doing and what they're building, et cetera, et cetera. Like, it's his fiduciary responsibility to show up and try to fight for the reputation of this project. So I'm not trying to I'm not an apologist here, and I'm not trying to say that I believe in the mission of Chia or that I think it's great. But what I am going to say is that I think of everything in our portfolio that's for hard drive mining, right? I think that Chia stands the greatest shot at a return to profit in the future. It's going to be right there next to Sia Coin. Now, storage, made safe, the rest, I think that they're fine. But Siacoin has that $500 million market cap. Chia, if we just, there we go. Let's reorder according to market cap, right? We got Filecoin at number 1, Saya in number 2, Chia in number 3. And I think that we are going to see a bit of resilience in this top 3 because there's this massive gap between Chia and MaidSafeCoin. $100 million gap in market cap between these two coins. I think Chia, because of their market, not their market, their mission and their vision, they're very similar to Saya Coin with the whole Skynet launch, Filecoin with IPFS. I think they're very similar in mission in terms of being able to get that sort of real world traction because of their mission and vision, that they are going to be able to just pull back. They're actually going to have some headroom to grow in the future. And since they're 95% down from their all-time high, like I think it's pretty safe to say like they've just been beaten up enough. They can probably pick themselves up and start to recover now. Tell me what you think in the comment section, guys. I need to know what your thoughts are on Chia because I'm finally starting to feel good about that again. Not because I'm an apologist, not because I'm like in love with Chia, but because it finally makes sense now. Is that weird? Now that it's like, yeah, again, when the market is gonna zig, we gotta zag. So I think we're nearly ready to do that with Chia. So jumping back out of the way, tell me what you think about all the hard drive mineable coins as soon as you have a second, guys. And would love to take your feedback on that. But yeah, whole portfolio's down, but that's good. It's possibly finally time to start looking at investments in the hard drive mineable space. CPU mining, we are in the money still, but it's largely thanks to Raptorium and Epic Cash. Quantum resistant ledger is okay, but it's not really in the money per se. Everything else is down pretty bad. Wownero is down 80% since we put in our trade, and I don't know that it's down all that much since its all-time high, but it's down pretty bad. 8.9 cents for Wownero. We're going to compare that to Dogecoin in just a minute here, and then Monero is at $1 or $1.51. I always look at Monero, though, just personally. My take on Monero is that the only way to really look at it seriously is to look at it in its Satoshi value. If you're not paying attention to how Monero trades versus Bitcoin, then I think you're doing it wrong. And here's why. Monero has had atomic swaps enabled against Bitcoin permissionlessly for some months now. It went when it first happened, or when it was first proposed, the white paper, I covered that on the channel, and then when it first went into testnet, covered that as well on the channel. Well, it's here, it's live. It's possible to do right now to swap permissionlessly between Bitcoin and Monero without an intermediary, no DEX, because there's none needed. It's just protocol to protocol. All you need is a buyer and a seller. That's it. And you've got the ability to swap between Bitcoin and Monero. Well, what does that do? Well, that gives you the full anonymity set of Bitcoin or Monero and gives you the full market cap of Bitcoin when you pull your assets back out of Monero over to Bitcoin if you want to use it that way. As long as there isn't too much slippage between those two prices over too much time. So I like looking at Monero's Bitcoin price, not its US dollar value. I think that's far more valuable to most people. So let me jump out of the way and quickly just show that. I think that's valuable for our live stream today. Again, just like I talked briefly about Chia, a couple little tangents here I think will do us all some good. But let's take a look at its chart, and instead of it being main, we'll go ahead and activate Bitcoin vision, and we do see that it's got volatility, right? It doesn't maintain a perfect peg to that amount. Let me take off. Here we go. That ought to do it. Now we got more, a little more. No, it's not good either. Let me take off Dark Reader for this site. Yeah, it's just not looking great. I think we can do better. Oof, CoinGecko, we died. All right, now we're back. That looks a lot better. Okay. But we see, yeah, 0.004 Satoshis. 0.004, 0.004 to 0.0039, 0.003, not quite 38, but it's been a lot more consistent and steady in recent days, right? Recent days and weeks. See this wave here, that pattern? 14 days, it has been on the downtrend. 30 days, it's kind of gone up and then come down. Looks like it had a recent local low of 0.0037. 90 days as well. A little double top there. Boop. Actually need to be able to see it, 0.005. But when we go back as far as a year, you can see it's much higher. See that? 0.0084 maximum. We've seen it far higher in Satoshi value. and we'll just say, back as far as 2018, right? So early 2018, we're looking at 0.029. So yeah, pretty significant, the difference in price between Monero and Bitcoin. But I got this really hit my radar in a strong way when we were back in this range back in 2020. We started to see it move up. Little did I know that was the top, right? The 0.01 Bitcoin for each Monero. And I think that's a more important metric to have because we have those atomic swaps. You tell me what you think in the comments, guys. I just think that's an important thing to keep note of, keep sight of, keep track of for any Monero holdings that you might have. If you're interested in privacy by default, if you're interested in the mission and vision of Monero, then it's a lot like Bitcoin. It's one of those things that people hold because it's useful, not because it is the most lucrative, but because it's useful. So tell me in the comments, what do you think about Monero and atomic swaps? What do you think about the ability to just track the Monero price in Bitcoin values? Because that's my preference. You might have a different way of looking at it. Moving on, though, in our portfolio, from CPU mining assets over to ASIC mineable assets. We've got Bitcoin in number one, of course, but everything is down. Got 54% blood in this portfolio. Starting with Bitcoin at about 3.5% down. Everything is just in the red, all the way down to not TBTC or any of these wrapped Bitcoin representations, but Pirate Chain. Yep. Pirate Chain is down to $1. Some people are very excited by Pirate Chain. Some people think that it is just the bee's knees. I think there's some problems with it. I don't think that it's the best possible privacy coin out there, despite some people's thoughts and feelings. But at about $250 million market cap, it's not the worst either, right? So $1.02, you could do a lot worse. But the issue that I take with it is that you've got... And we're going to jump back now, all the way back to our chat about Monero that we had like 5 seconds ago. With Monero, you've got a market cap of $2.7 billion. So you've got a significant amount higher market cap to be able to transact in. Why does that matter, guys? Well, it matters because privacy is not something you do just in one context, right? Where it's like, well, got to make a private transaction. It's only going to be this one currency. Ha ha ha. Well, what if the merchant only accepts Bitcoin? You're screwed. It's really that simple. You can't offer them Pirate Chain, the R coin, when what they want is Bitcoin. However, with Monero, you can offer them Bitcoin through an atomic swap. See the issue there? Same with Ethereum. I mean, I guess I've heard jokes, or is it a joke? Is it an actual development that Pirate Chain is going to offer wrapped R on Ethereum? And that's fine, I guess, but guess what? There is no privacy on Ethereum's mainnet. There's no privacy on the L1 of Ethereum unless you have an asset that is supported by Tornado Cash. And then once they do that, it's like, okay, well then why are you any different from just like, say, USDC on Ethereum that can be used on Tornado Cash, right? It's fungible. People actually want it. Like, people actually accept stablecoins. I don't actually understand the need for Zcash or Pirate Chain right now. Sorry, guys. I feel like I've lost interest there. As much as it's a cool project, it's not my favorite, and there's a reason that I don't hold any. I think it's a good reason, personally, and I don't think it's trading very well either. So as an investment, I just don't see it. I don't get why other people see it. Monero, useful. Bitcoin, useful. R, useful in context, but I don't think it is used by people, so that makes it less useful. Anyway, rant over. Dogecoin now trading at 12.3 cents, so sadly it's higher than WoW-Nero. That makes me really, really sad. But moving up the list, everything here is in the red, so I'm not that sad about it because everything is suffering equally. So I guess we'll take solace in that. Paul Doherty says, think Chia will save the portfolio. You may be right. FR4KT47 says, where can we do atomic swaps? Hey, that's a great question. There are several guides about doing atomic swaps with Monero, and I'm not going to go over that here, but I'm going to say there are several guides that are written in blog format. Seth Simmons, who is a doxed person in the space, has a great first name. But Seth Simmons has written up guides for the Monero community about this. And then I just redundantly hosted the Atomic Swaps paper on Mind Your Biz. But Seth Simmons actually wrote an article there, and he started to set up the liquidity pools for Monero to Bitcoin Atomic Swaps. So I'll have to look up the link for that and then link to that, or maybe I'll just cover it in a video. But it's Seth Simmons. He goes by Seth for privacy on Twitter. But that's a way to look that up. Appreciate the question. It's a great question. Actually, you know, your chats were not on screen. What? Okay, there they are. Appreciate you guys chatting it up. Paul Doherty says, I think Chia will save the portfolio. Did I miss the hard drive part? I just came back. Yes, you did, but this is a different stream where we're just going over portfolios. So it is there, and I agree. That was my comment as well. I think the Chia it'll be the comeback kid. That will be how Chia saves the day. But moving into back into our portfolios, guys, I want to try to keep this pretty tidy this side of the live stream because we had those difficulties last time, so I don't want to bore you to death this time. But we got the FPGA mining portfolio. Currently, Cadena is in the number one spot again. Total portfolio is up by 100%, but let's be realistic. That's because of Cadena dragging all these dead bodies behind it, right? You got an 8x, 8.5x in profit. Again, rinse. You just keep your initial in as a moon bag if you want, and you're walking away with a cool 8.5 times your initial. So that's just free money. 0x Bitcoin not doing what it normally does. So, you know, sad clown face there, but it hasn't lost all of its value either. So if you just held on to it from when we first did that portfolio entry, you're okay. You can get out if you need to. Handshake is our first loser, and Digibyte is our worst loser at 74% down. I still think that Digibyte in this portfolio also is going to be the one that gives us that comeback story at about 1.9 cents per coin. Let me open that up as well, just really fast. Take a look at its all-time low, and its all-time low ever, well, was January of 2015, so kind of closer to when it initially launched. But we should try to look for more recent, like local lows. And this is kind of the biggest local low it's had in quite some time. Let me kill Bitcoin price for right now because that's just not going to be relevant for this one. I don't think you trade Digibyte against Bitcoin per se. I think this is something that you do actually to try to get fiat gains now. I think there was a time where you did, right? I'll activate that again. I think there was a time where you did, but it's clearly decoupled. I don't know if I'm missing some kind of a logarithmic view of this. Is that the problem? Yeah, I think maybe that's my problem, is that I'm not seeing a log view of that. But yeah, it's just seeing that it's got that USD value kind of flipping right here sometime in 2020. And I think now the comeback story is going to be somewhere. It's going to be written in dollars, not in satoshis, with Digibyte. But even that, like, not advice, guys. Really not advice. Not at all. Ooh. Yeah. So not at all. I think that we do have the possibility of seeing much bigger pump at some point. It might still have to get some be deflated a little more though. So end of 2017 though. Yeah. We're down 90%, almost 95% from that peak then. And I think when we do get 95% down, I think that it's possible that Digibyte does give us a leg up. So just throwing it out there, guys. This is not me. This is not me as some big shot technician. This is not me as somebody who's like trying to pretend to be an investment manager or like a trader guy. Just looking at it and seeing like in crypto markets, it seems like a common fractal is that 95% down either signals a full return or it's just bottomed out and it just doesn't ever return. So one of those two things happens, right? Like, and I know, crazy. Wow, you mean it's going to go up or it's going to go down? You're amazing, Seth. Yeah, I mean, with this particular thing, like once we hit that 95% down, I think it's go time. It's not the worst thing in the world to be like, okay, well, it's less than it's a penny. It's in the equivalent of the real world stocks, it's like a penny stock, right? It's just a penny. So whatever, I put in $50. Like, what's it gonna hurt? If it 10x's, then cool. You know, you got a cool $500. Was it worth your time to only put in $50 in retrospect when that happens? Probably not. But this is a coin that has 10x before, so I don't know. I'm not like a huge Digibyte guy, not like some huge Digibyte Maxi or whatever. I've seen it do well in the past, so that's why I'm excited to see it at the bottom of this portfolio, because it may have the potential to pump back up harder. I don't think it's the only one. I think Chia is going to be a similar thing from this portfolio list. Proof of stake smart contracts, guys. We've been looking at those over on DeFi Llama. I don't really want to look at those in detail here, other than to say I don't think that logic that I was talking about before actually holds on Internet Computer Protocol. Just to be very, very clear, I think Internet Computer Protocol and most of these portfolio holdings here on proof of stake smart contracts, I think they are fundamentally very different. I think Internet Computer Protocol, for as much as it has this massive market cap, it's a lot like EOS, and EOS does very unique things because it's artificially propped up by VC funding. And I think that Internet Computer is going to be very similar. ZIL, Neo, maybe to a lesser extent Kusama, but some others as well on this list, because they are protocols, because they're rather platforms, right? Platform level crypto. They're networks that other protocols run on top of. There's going to be heavy interest from the typical suspects, right? The typical rent-seeking suspects within Silicon Valley and VC firms throughout the world, where they're used to saying like, oh no, we run the infrastructure that everybody else pays to use. That's our business model. We want a percentage of everything. No, not some things. We want to own everything. Just a little bit. We want 2% of everything, right? Or 0.5% of everything, everywhere, all the time. So I think that's why you have such heavy interest from these VC firms in platforms like this. And that's why I think it's going to be different from them, from the other sides of the portfolio. It's very hard to see genuine grassroots anywhere here. Right? Like, for better or for worse, guys, I'm not actually putting a value judgment on that. I'm not saying these people are evil or that business plan is evil. But what I'm saying is that's the reality. So they will prop up. They will manipulate. They will inflate. They'll pump. They'll dump. They'll do all kinds of stuff. They'll go on international television. They'll go on nationally syndicated television, and they'll say stuff that is for the good of these projects because they know they're going to be able to speak to retail with authority. Like, whoa, you don't get it. Do you know my name? Do you know what I built? I made this thing that everybody in the world uses, Netflix or AWS or whatever. And they manipulate stuff. That's just their game. And realistically, I think that game theory teaches us and human nature teaches us that if you were in their position, odds are you'd probably behave like them too. So I'm going to try not to judge them too much for making those choices when they fill those shoes. But it doesn't mean I have to, put my portfolio in stuff they control and manipulate, right? Like, we do vote with our feet. So, and with our dollars. So looking at this list, I'm not expecting it to turn around quite the same way as some of the other lists. We are 55% up, but it's pretty much just from Harmony up. Cosmos still looking great, right? Holding relatively strong. Down 10% of the last 24 hours, but 2% over the last week. It's up 2% last week. It's actually held up admirably. I've been telling you guys about it for a while. We're also nearing that point where you may strongly consider getting into more Cosmos or getting a position at all. We're going to look at our IBC gang, the IBC gang listing in just a second as well, of that whole side of the portfolio. I think it's important for us to acknowledge that's part of Cosmos. When I say look at Cosmos, I actually mean look at everything within the IBC ecosystem. That's what I'm actually saying to you. So yeah, don't be confused there. All right, back over into our junk drawer. We got Everrise. I did put a purchase into the Everrise portfolio because of its launch date. Guys, whoever suggested Everrise, like what? I had to put in an early position, and putting $1,000 into Everrise would have bought you roughly, not quite, but almost 50% of the coin supply. So take this with a massive grain of salt, right? Like, just dump it on. But here's the coin supply, like almost half the coin supply. You can't take this seriously. It's a bit like Saitama Inu. We bought so many in this paper trade that it's just like you can't take it seriously. But they're showing ridiculous profits, right? Like unrealistic profits. Floki Inu, UFO Gaming, et cetera, also all in the money. And that one entry there totally skews this portfolio. See, we look ridiculously profitable. That can't be real, right? But we do have a lot of 3x and 10x entries here that are real. UFO Gaming, Luffy, Dojil on Mars, Zion Network. You'd be in the money right now. You'd be able to take out your initial and go back to other sides of the market to either hold stables or reinvest if you needed to. So you're not doing terribly, badly there. We are starting to see some losses from Rug Zombie all the way down to QuickSwap. It makes me sad. QuickSwap is down into that value buy territory almost at about $150. We're almost, at I think that turnaround event for QuickSwap as well. So I am kind of excited to see that. It's in that bottom three. BoneSwap as well might be, we maybe deflated enough, maybe depressed enough that we can finally start seeing some really great value buys now. So yeah, about 90% down from its all-time high. And all-time low, was closer to when it launched, so I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, all-time high, we're almost 90% down. Like roughly, it pretty much matches what we bought, right? So in this portfolio. So I think that it may be a really good time to be looking closely at that side of the portfolio, looking closely at QuickSwap specifically. Shout out to the homie Serpent X Tech. Apparently he did a video about just QuickSwap the other day, and he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, I know you're interested in QuickSwap. Take a look at this." And yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's see. Paul Doherty says, "I don't understand why there's real money on Kusama. Why not just do Polkadot if you believe in it? It's a test net. It's a very active test net. It's that simple. Got a friend who's big time into Polkadot, and that the test net has more going for it. So the VCs are more interested in that right now. I don't know why. It's a way to prolong the dream, right? Like keep selling the rumor if you are on testnet, I guess. That's my best guess. But yeah, guys, I'm excited about QuickSwap possibly like hitting that bottom support. Who knows? Maybe there's a lot more pain. Maybe we got to see a lot more blood. But I think we're really nearing that. We hit that 90. Like there's something magical about a 95% down mark where it's like, okay, if it doesn't find support here, then we're really in trouble. But I don't think we're going to have that problem. So good to see that we're seeking that bottom support there. Excited to see that with having it specifically be QuickSwap, where it's so focused on the Polygon ecosystem. IBC gang, guys, gonna end it on this. Just show you this is the portfolio. You got a lot that over 7 days are in the green. See that? Quite a few actually, with Regen, Certic, Cosmos, Osmosis, and Terra, and then several others that have been holding their more of a sideways motion, less so than a precipitous downtrend. We do have, though, our biggest loser in this portfolio is XPRT from Persistence, 74% down from when we made that trade. Still at $3.10, we may be seeing a similar issue there as we saw before. So maybe, let's go down here. Yep, all-time high. We're 81% down on Persistence. So we could see that value buy there as well. Guys, I'm going to call that a show for today. Appreciate you tuning back in and checking out the market side of the Mind Your Biz live stream. You're the reason I make this media. Guys, I'm so glad that we had a full live stream without any further incidents. You're the reason I make this media. I love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. Remember to check out mineyour.biz, where you can sign up for Mind Your Biz Insiders, our occasional newsletter where we don't spam you. We do send out occasional important information, including flash sales and important deals on privacy-preserving technology. This is one of the ways that we can talk to you uncensored and without the oversight of third-party media platforms. You can also check out the Mind Your Biz phone as well as merch, or sign up to become an affiliate for either one. Anything sold directly on the mineyour.biz website, you can earn a percentage of. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video. You're the reason I make this media. I love your face. Remember to stay private and mind your biz.